Hi there. This is the next video in the series, and I really just wanted to cover off one or two things that I've been doing today, which is um, looking at assessing your lifestyle thermostat. And part of this journey that I'm on is very much looking at the mindset it takes to be a successful business entrepreneur as well as online marketer, um, and some of the roadblocks that we have in our way. And I'll talk about those in another video. But this one, I wanted to mention something about our ideal day. And I've been through a working process, which I'll share with you on a separate link. If you look down below the video, the YouTube video, where it goes through your income over the last 10 years, and if things continue, how will that change over the next 10 years? And really, it's taking a look in the mirror and saying, is that what you want? Do you want that level of income? Do you want to be doing what you're doing for that level of income? And then it moved on to your personal values and some examples, those kind of things. So I went through an exercise where I looked at what my personal values are and what I want to be able to have. Some of my personal values seem to have been put by the wayside over the years. I remember when I was 18, 19, 20, how I was going to save the world. And I don't mean save the planet in terms of the green, although that is important. I was going to make a difference, and I believe I've done a good job in the various different areas that I've worked in over the time, and certainly I've been told so. So take that for what it is. But I took a look at what do I want, and how do I respect others' values, and I'm going to go through some of these. I've written them down, so just bear with me if I look down. But first of all, I start off with adventure. I want to be adventurous, not necessarily rock climbing and those types of things, but I want to be able to get out and explore even more than I already do. I want laughter in my life, joy in my life. A real key one for me is self-determination. I, as a person, need to feel in control. That doesn't mean I need to be stuck in my ways, status quo, but I need to be in control of the direction I'm going in. I need to be in control of the decisions I make. That type of thing comes into my self-determination. In control of my destiny, if you want to be a little bit airy-fairy, I guess. A sense of peace in my life. At my time in life, I deserve to have a sense of peace, even though I want to continue working for as long as I possibly can, as long as I have the marbles to be able to do so and the physical ability to be able to do that. So I circled a few words that come to mind when I look at other people and what I respect in them. Truth and trust. I love it when I can trust somebody and I don't have to do the due diligence to find out whether they're telling the truth. I don't have to read between the lines. It feels to me they are being open, they're being honest, and if they're saying something, it's their perception. It may not be the only perception, the only way, but I believe that has to be true for me. And openness comes with that. And when I put a question mark alongside it as well. How early days, how open am I going to be willing to be on these videos? My intention is to be as open as I possibly can. But some things may be just too personal for me to talk about. We'll see how we go along the journey. But I intend to be as open as I can, certainly where I believe it's relevant to the audience. Intelligence. I respect intelligence in people, and I don't mean academic intelligence, albeit somebody who's good at their job, good at their technician. I will associate with them because I believe they will put me on the right path if I need that information. But I respect common sense intelligence. I respect the intelligence um, to understand what your words will do for others. Um, uh, the intention being to give value uh, rather than just to show off intelligence. And I hope that makes sense. Um, Playfulness, a sense of playfulness. I'm along this way. I feel I've lost a lot of playfulness I had when I was younger. Even when I had kids early days, I feel that there was more playfulness in there than I have now. And some of that I think I've just lost along the way. So I intend along this journey to find it again. Um, Along with that, balance and integrity. That if I'm going to be successful this, if I'm going to be committed to this, then I need to make sure I have balance between that playfulness and getting the job done. Get the job done and be playful at the same time would be good. But playing for the sake of playing, um, maybe only in my leisure time. We'll see. Well, this is a new page for me, so we'll see how it works. Um, Peaceful. I want my journey to be peaceful. I don't mean I don't want it to be smooth and no challenges along the way. I want to be able to, within myself, to create a state of mind where even when I'm meeting challenges and obstacles along the way, I can have a sense of peace about doing it, knowing where I'm going and that there will be a way around, through, or over these obstacles that I meet. A sense of kindness. I believe, and I was brought up with, if you can't be kind, then say nothing at all. Now, has that happened in my life? There have been times when I probably, with hindsight, would say I could have done things better and different. Um, but a sense of kindness and patience along with that for people. And certainly in my freelance training work, there is a need for that kindness and that patience with people to enable them to move at the pace that they need to move. Sometimes they do need to move faster than they might otherwise do. So sometimes they do need that cajoling along the way, and I'm happy that that comes into that kindness, because if it's done for the right reasons, then there is value in that. And then once I did that exercise, I then looked at what other things I want to be able to do. I'm not particularly good at asking for help. I'm good at sharing. I like to help people, but in terms of asking for help, I've felt in the past that that's a weakness. Now, I am absolutely certain I'm not going to be able to be successful in this unless I ask for help. So somehow I'm going to have to find a way of putting myself out there, being vulnerable and asking for help, as well as sharing what I can to help others along the way. It's a give and take, isn't it? And I also want to be able to take feedback and use it positively. I'm sure I'm going to come across people who give me feedback, and my initial reaction will be that jolt. Maybe it would be the way they've said it, maybe it's the way I've read what they've said. But I want to be able to take what they've said or what they've done for me in terms of feedback and put it in perspective and find the value in it, and then use that value to move me forward in the direction I want to do. Yes, if there's other information they've shared that I don't believe is relevant. Once I've worked it through, then I'll just discard it, forget it. So they're the key things that came out. And then the final piece that I did was I looked at what I wanted people to be able to say about me, and that may be further down the road than right now, but we'll see how we go. I want them to be able to say that I was courageous, that I was a calculated risk taker. I was brave enough to create enough, to change enough, to live enough, to feel enough, to be enough, to know enough, to give enough, to grow enough, and overall to make a difference. And if someone on my gravestone wants to write, "He made a difference," for me that would be enough. Anyway, this is my journey, and the piece that really comes through as a starting point is to know what your direction is. And for me, financial is a key one. For me to be able to stop having to do freelance work, I need to replace an income of somewhere in the region of around about 3,000 a month. Pay off some debts along the way, so that a peace of mind comes through. To be debt free would be a magical piece for me. So that's key. But security on a financial level. More importantly, I want to, within 12 months, be able to start to share really from an expert point of view. Along the way, I'll share what I'm going through, and hopefully what I give you will be educational as you go, and will help, will be of value, will be useful. Otherwise you're not going to come back to the next one, and that's entirely up to you whether you do or you don't. But the first thing is to look at my ideal day, and I'm going to go through it briefly just in terms of the structure. I intend, and I'll maybe put a link down below the YouTube video, I intend to create a guided meditation around the structure to help people who haven't really got any direction that they want to aim for. And we'll talk about the principles in it, not on this video, but on a different one. The key thing is, if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? That's a cliche I've heard so many times in our training environment. And yes, I understood it, but on a surface level, there's more to it than that. And the work that I do when I'm coaching sports people or managers in their resilience, it's get them to actually see where they're aiming and feel it, feel what it will feel like when they've got there. And the key around that is what it does for your subconscious. And it does two key things. It gives that subconscious a direction, just as if it was a supercomputer. It will start to filter out information, look for opportunities that will get you there. But it needs to have the direction, and that direction needs to be embedded constantly every day until it becomes automatic, a habit. And certainly looking at top sports people, they already do those things. Looking at some of the top business people in this area, that's how they did it. That's how they got started. So in terms of the ideal day, for me, the ideal day a year from now will be very different to what I'm doing right now. So the key is, what will that look like? So where will you be? What will you be doing? Will you be with? At the moment you wake up in the morning, what's that going to feel like once you've achieved what you want to set out to achieve for that ideal day? What will you be doing that first thing in the morning? So what's the first thing you'll do? Who will you do it with? How will it feel knowing you can do that. And it gives you value as well as anybody else you're with. What hours of the day will you work, if you're going to work at all? What level of income will you have at that stage? And how will you feel knowing that that level of income is coming in regardless of whether you do work that day? The work you do that day will add to any income, as opposed to stop your income because you're trading your time for your money. Where will you work? Will you be working at home? Will you be working in a coffee shop? Will you be working out somewhere around the UK or abroad where you're travelling? It's entirely your day. It's up to you what you want to be doing within that year. What will you do at lunchtime? Where will you go? How will you eat? What will you eat? Who will you eat with? How will it feel being there and knowing you can be there? And then in the afternoon, what will you be doing in the afternoon? I fully intend to be working in the afternoon, but working doing stuff that I enjoy, I love. And if I need time in the afternoon to go off and do something other than work, no guilt applies. So that's one of the things in my ideal day. And then into the evening, what would you be doing in the evening? Again, who would be there? Where would you be? How would you feel about what you're doing? And finally, wrapping up the day, how will you finish your days? And what will it feel like going to sleep, knowing that your ideal day will be coming again tomorrow? So I intend to, I have worked through my ideal day. It's irrelevant what my ideal day will look like to what your ideal day will look like, but I will share it at some point. Probably at the end of the year, I will compare my ideal day now versus what my new ideal day will be once I get to 12 months. Because I imagine it's going to evolve and change as I progress and see what happens and what changes. So I will endeavour to put a link down below the YouTube, it may not be initially, to this guided meditation. But in order to do that, I'll need to build a structure around which I can create that meditation, put together an audio with a nice slide video on YouTube to go with it, and you'll be able to use it for your own purposes, for your own ideal day. I think the key thing around that though is it's a guided meditation that you can use until it becomes automatic for you to do yourself, and then you can just discard it and use your own imagination. So for today, and until the next time, please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe on the button on the side of the video. If you liked the video, please like the video. If you want to share it on social media, feel free to do so. These videos are public, and I'm quite happy for you to share them with people you feel might get something from it, rather than just sharing it for the sake of sharing it. So again, for today, cheerio, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.